There exists a book so ancient, so shrouded in mystery, that even among seasoned mystics, its very existence is whispered like a sacred rumor. Written over 12 centuries ago, hidden beneath layers of dust and doctrine, this forbidden manuscript, known only in fragments as CEX Anime, reveals something most of us have forgotten. Not just who we are, but what we were before we became human. It speaks of a journey, a sacred celestial path, a blueprint your soul follows before it enters this physical realm, a voyage that begins long before your first breath and extends far beyond your final one. And according to this ancient text, every soul undergoes a precise sequence of 7 sacred stages before incarnating into a body. These stages are not metaphors. They are living currents of consciousness, encoded with divine intention. Each one imprints your psyche, your karma, your purpose, and even the very wounds you'll be called to heal. This knowledge was never meant for the masses. It was protected by ancient mystery schools, buried in code, and passed down orally among adepts who had crossed the veil of forgetting. But today, through fragments found in Eastern monasteries, esoteric commentaries from the desert mystics, and strange parallels in Gnostic scriptures, we're piecing it back together. And what we've found changes everything. In this video, we'll unveil the 7 sacred stages your soul traverses before birth, from the realm of cosmic selection to the contract of amnesia that seals your fate on earth. You'll learn why you chose this life, this body, this era, and what that means for your spiritual evolution. But this is more than theory. This is remembrance. So, close your eyes, take a breath, and prepare to journey beyond the veil, into the forgotten corridors of your soul's eternal path. To trace the origins of the CEX Anime, one must venture beyond the crumbling libraries of Alexandria, deeper than the Hermetic scrolls of Egypt, and further east into the high plateaus of forgotten Himalayan enclaves. The manuscript's name, CEX Anime, is not Latin, though it echoes its rhythm. Scholars believe it's a transliteration of an ancient Syro-Aramaic phrase, roughly meaning soul's path before the flesh. Some say it was scribed by a group of desert mystics known as the Zuharim, a sect that vanished from recorded history during the 9th century after refusing to share their sacred texts with the newly formed religious orders of the time. Legends say the Zuharim didn't write for fame or salvation. They wrote to preserve memory, not of historical events, but of pre-incarnational awareness. They believed that the human soul is not created at birth, but enters a body after passing through 7 invisible chambers, each sculpting its identity, mission, and karmic framework. These chambers weren't simply symbolic. They were said to exist in an interdimensional plane the Zuharim called El Seth, a realm of luminous intelligence where souls convene, commune, and are cleansed before descent into matter. Now here's where it gets fascinating and dangerous. The Zuharim taught that each soul chooses its incarnation with profound deliberation, not out of punishment or chance, but to learn specific lessons. Pain, joy, loss, and love were all understood as pre-selected catalysts designed for one's spiritual alchemy. But this level of awareness threatened the hierarchies of the time. If people remembered their soul's sovereignty, if they truly knew they chose this life, they could no longer be controlled through fear, guilt, or blind obedience. So, the manuscript was declared heretical. Copies were burned, initiates persecuted, and over time, its teachings were buried beneath layers of dogma, forgotten even by many spiritual traditions themselves. Yet, fragments survived. In 1931, a single scroll, matching Zuharim symbols, was reportedly smuggled out of a Tibetan monastery by a German mystic named Lorenz Kleeberg, who later disappeared under mysterious circumstances. His translated notes, only recently made public, described 7 luminous stations a soul encounters before birth. He claimed these stages mirrored certain Gnostic concepts of the pleroma and echoed Vedic ideas of the antakarana, the bridge between higher mind and earthly self. What emerges is a startling philosophical truth. Incarnation is not a fall from grace. It is a sacred act of participation. Your life is not a random unfolding. It is a ritual designed by your soul with precision. In denying this, humanity has lost touch with its power. But in remembering it, we reclaim our place as conscious creators in the grand mystery. And now, with this ancient wisdom resurfacing, we ask, what are these 7 sacred stages? How do they shape your soul's blueprint? And what hidden knowledge can they reveal about your current struggles, gifts, and destiny? That's what we'll uncover next. The 7 sacred stages your soul passes through before incarnating, before the soul touches the earth, before you are born into form. It journeys through 7 luminous thresholds, each one shaping your essence like a sculptor chisels marble. The CEX Anime describes them not as places, but as realms of vibration, each governed by a different spiritual intelligence and each unlocking a specific layer of soul memory and intention. Let's walk through the first 4 stages, slowly, reverently. Stage 1, the Chamber of Echoes. This is where all begins. The soul enters a vast, reverberating space filled with vibrations from past lives, not as memories, but as pure feeling. Grief, triumph, failure, wisdom. It's not about judgment, it's resonance. Here, the soul listens. It feels the weight of karmic threads that still hum in its field, what has been mastered and what remains unresolved. This stage is not about guilt. It's about energetic balance. What echoes within you that still needs to be harmonized? Many people feel déjà vu or recurring emotional patterns in life. According to the CEX Anime, those are echoes that leaked through from this first chamber. Stage 2, the Hall of Mirrors. Now the soul is shown 1,000 versions of itself, not in the past, but possible futures. Here it witnesses all the paths it could take, all the forms it could assume. Each identity reveals a different lesson, a different theme. Betrayal, leadership, isolation, devotion. The mirrors are alive. They don't show what is, but what could be. And they ask, who do you need to become to evolve your essence? Which version of you best serves your soul's growth? Most souls don't choose comfort. They choose friction, because friction is what sharpens the blade. This is why some lives feel like a trial by fire. You chose the mirror that would burn away illusion. Stage 3, the Covenant of Threads. Here, the soul steps into a cosmic loom and begins weaving contracts. It calls forth other souls, some old companions, some new. Agreements are made, lessons are assigned, roles are chosen, a mother who will challenge you, a friend who will save you, a stranger who will break you open. This stage explains the unexplainable connections we feel toward certain people, those we meet and feel we've known forever, or those who instantly trigger us. They are threads in your soul's design, woven in this chamber long before time began for you. Importantly, not all threads are pleasant. Some are thorns, but every thorn is a teacher. Stage 4, the River of Forgetting. Now comes the hardest part. To be born into matter, the soul must pass through the River of Lethe, a current of light that erases all conscious memory of what came before, not as punishment, but as necessity. Why? Because to remember everything would rob the lessons of their power. Imagine watching a film where you already know the ending. You'd never feel the suspense, never truly choose in the moment. That's what this stage safeguards, the sacred weight of experience. But echoes remain. The CEX Anime says certain soul fragments are too bright to fully forget, glimpses that come as intuition, dreams, inner callings. These are your breadcrumbs back to remembrance. By this point, the soul has already made profound decisions: who it will be, what it must learn, and who will walk beside it. But it's not finished. There are 3 more sacred stages, each deeper, each more veiled. In the next section, we'll uncover the hidden realm of archetypal imprints where your gifts are chosen, the veil of pain where your soul selects its wounds, and the final descent where time collapses and incarnation begins. Are you ready to see why your life is the exact initiation your soul designed? The final 3 stages. Before incarnation. The soul is now luminous, heavy with choices. It has chosen its karmic echoes, seen its potential reflections, woven its soul agreements, and passed through forgetting. But to truly descend into matter, 3 final stages must be endured, each one sharpening the soul's purpose like a blade before battle. Stage 5. The Chamber of Archetypes. Here, the soul is brought before the primordial forms, archetypes older than language: warrior, sage, healer, trickster, lover, outcast. These are not personalities. They are frequencies that shape the very tone of your incarnation. Each soul must merge with one or more of these archetypes, not to mimic them, but to channel their essence through a unique human life. This is why, even without knowing why, some people feel called to lead, while others are drawn to solitude, art, or mysticism. The CEX Anime says these archetypes are cosmic ingredients. The soul doesn't just wear them. It becomes a vessel for their expression in time. But here's the paradox. You are not just the archetype. You are also what lies beyond it. The archetype is the door. You are what walks through it. This is where many spiritual seekers get trapped, confusing the mask for the essence. Stage 6, the wound of separation. Then, the most harrowing stage. Before it can incarnate, the soul must undergo the wound of separation, an ancient fracturing that gives birth to longing. The soul must feel itself as separate from source, as if cast out from the eternal light. Why would such a wound be required? Because only through the ache of separation does the soul seek reunion. Only through forgetting it is divine does it undertake the long, alchemical journey back to the One. This is why every human being, no matter how successful, enlightened, or loved, feels at times a deep, unexplainable emptiness. That is the echo of the 6th chamber, the wound that reminds you, you are more than flesh. The CEX Anime states this wound is not a flaw, it's a compass, a divine homesickness placed within you to pull you back toward awakening. And for some, that ache is the awakening. Stage 7. The spiral descent. Finally, the last veil. The soul, now woven with archetypes, threads, and purpose, begins its descent. Not through space, but through vibrational density. This is the spiral descent, a collapse of time, identity, and divine memory. It is said that in this stage, the soul sings itself into form. It creates a vibrational echo that draws it toward the womb of a specific mother at a specific moment, with specific planetary alignments. Nothing is random. Your birth was not a coincidence. It was choreographed across lifetimes. As the spiral tightens, the soul sheds its vastness and enters limitation. A body, a name, a culture, a story. And when you first cried, at the very moment you emerged into light, you were not just entering life. You were crossing the final threshold of an ancient cosmic ritual. These are the 7 sacred stages of the pre-birth soul journey, as revealed in the forbidden book CEX Anime. Not myth, not metaphor, but a map of becoming, encoded in esoteric language for those ready to remember. And yet, a question still lingers. If your soul chose all of this, your pains, your gifts, your trials, then how do you begin to live in alignment with that choice? How do you remember what your soul knew before you forgot? In the next section, we'll explore practical applications, rituals, reflections, and techniques to reconnect with your pre-birth purpose and begin the path back to wholeness, reconnecting with the soul's pre-birth blueprint. For many, the knowledge of the 7 pre-birth stages stirs a deep resonance. But resonance without remembrance is only the beginning. So how do you realign with what your soul chose? How do you awaken the echo of that divine plan that once pulsed in your essence before the forgetting? Let us begin with 3 esoteric tools, subtle, powerful, and ancient. 1. The mirror ritual of archetype. Awakening. Each soul is seeded with dominant archetypes chosen in stage 5. But most people drift through life unaware of the cosmic roles they are meant to embody. To reconnect with these archetypes, 1. Sit before a mirror in candlelight, eyes steady, breath soft. 2. Speak aloud. Show me the form I chose before I became flesh. 3. Gaze into your eyes, not as a personality, but as a vessel. Watch for emotions, visions, or sensations. 4. Afterward, journal any images or words that arose. Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll begin to see the shapes behind your shadows. This is not imagination, it is memory, waking up from slumber. 2. The wound, as compass meditation. In stage 6, the soul receives the wound of separation, a sacred pain that lives quietly within us. It hides behind depression, addiction, or the gnawing sense that something is missing. But this wound is not your enemy. It's your spiritual compass. Practice. Find a quiet space and bring to mind a moment where you felt deeply lost or abandoned. Rather than escaping it, enter the wound. Feel it. Let it speak. Ask, what is this pain calling me back to? What part of my original self have I forgotten? Often, in the depth of this discomfort, your original soul intention rises like mist from ancient waters. 3. Dream incubation, remembering the pre-birth counsel. The soul doesn't just choose a life, it prepares for it with guides, teachers, and other souls. These meetings, recorded in stage 3, are still accessible through dreams. To reconnect, 1. Before sleep, write in a journal. Tonight, I call upon the counsel of my becoming. Let me remember why I chose this life. 2. Place the journal beside your bed and sleep with intention. 3. Upon waking, write immediately, even fragments. Look for symbolism, numbers, names, or strange conversations. Over time, these dreams will form a mosaic, and within it, a map will appear. Final thought. Walk as if you chose. This above all, this is the master key. Begin to live as if you chose everything. Your family, your flaws, your body, your wounds, because your soul did. When you walk through the world with this awareness, life shifts from chaos to choreography. Suffering becomes sacred, and the mundane becomes mystical. You begin to see the invisible architecture beneath your choices, and through that, you awaken what was never truly lost. The echo of the before life. There is a reason why you've always felt different, why the world seemed too dense, why certain moments felt fated, as if you'd rehearsed them in a dream long ago. It's because you did. Long before breath touched your lungs, long before your name was spoken, You walked through the sacred halls of the before life. You sat before the council. You gazed upon the earth not as a victim of chance, but as a volunteer of purpose. The forbidden 1,200-year-old manuscript, hidden, ridiculed, and nearly erased by time, dared to document what few are ready to remember: that your soul is not new, that your incarnation was not an accident, and that behind the veil of forgetting lies a design so intricate, so deliberate, it could only have been woven in the language of the divine. Every fear you carry, every dream that won't let go. These are echoes, messages from your pre-birth self, calling you to align with the path you once vowed to walk. So ask yourself, what if everything happening right now, every coincidence, every challenge, every love and loss, was written in the stars before you fell into this body? What if you're not remembering to become something new, but remembering to return to what you've always been? Because maybe this isn't your first time hearing this. Maybe, in some deep chamber of your soul, you already knew. If this video stirred something in you, a strange sense of déjà vu, a forgotten truth brushing against your mind, then share it, not for the algorithm, but for the others like you, the ones who are beginning to remember. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Ouroboros archive holds more than whispers. It holds the keys. Until next time, walk gently between the worlds, because you've been here before.